What is up, all? It is Monday night. It is the first Monday of June. It's crazy, man. First Monday of June, and the weather is miserable in Phoenix. Go figure. Go figure. It's already scorchingly hot, and it'll just get worse. But anyway, we are back here on the Sports Arena. Hope everybody had a great Memorial Day holiday and the week. A lot's going on. A lot has been going on. And, well, we got a cast of characters tonight. First, I want to bring in a guy who loves to jump in, and he's a Houston Texans guy. He's all right. Sun Devils will be living in Texas a little bit next year, so being in the Big 12. So that's pretty cool. What's up, Denzel? What's going on, buddy?
Man, I had to pull up. It's been a minute, but I'm here. And shout out to the great folks at Kelly Strong, where I got this fine hat. It was in Vegas. Yeah. You remember Vegas, Mike? We were there. You remember Vegas?
Oh, I got February. I got that hat too. I got actually socks and a hat from last year, and then I got that hat this year too. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. Look at you, man, in Texas supporting California. Hey, you're an outlier in Texas. I know that much.
yeah. I know it was the great folks over there at Cali Strong. We met up with them, and everybody was all good. They took care of us while we were there and everything. So shout out to them. Shout out to Dave DeRocher, who also has ties with them as well. But it's really great. It's been a while, so I figure I'll come on here for a little bit and talk a little ish with y'all and have a little fun. So.
Yeah, speaking of talking ish, well, Jimmy Butler's finally in a movie commercial since he's not playing basketball. So look, John Shear decides to jump back in. What's up, John Shear?
Well, look. Eric summoned the Undertaker out of retirement. His sleeping dogs are lying, and he summoned the Undertaker. And he showed up. I showed up. Now I want to know where Eric Wilson is. He ran his trap all day on social media.
I saw that.
About me,
I've been seeing the interaction.
I'm not one to back down from a challenge, so he run his little lips
over
there.
You're not one to back down. You're right. You've never one to back down. You're just like Jimmy Butler. You get hurt, you don't show up. So it's all good.
I always show up. By the way, before we bring in whoever our next guest is, I do have to give condolences to Larry Allen's family, man. I just have to throw that out there. You're a Cowboys fan. I thought about you today,
That's
Mike.
Sad, man. That's
arguably the greatest lineman ever in the history of the game, and he just suddenly dies. I had to make sure I threw that out there because, that guy's part of one of the best dynasties of all time.
Oh, yeah. No, I was going to wait till we bring the man in. The gloves
I find it very funny that so many people just want to keep chirping and chirping and chirping. My phone has not stopped blowing up all day long simply because I said that there were certain people that I love who need to come to the front of the congregation because we need to have some conversations that we were a part of over the last 4 years, conversations that we made relevant when others gave it no attention.
Stephen A.
And now all of a sudden the world just wants to blow up at me. And as I said in my post today, sometimes people, you have to remind others of their greatness. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I know my brother ASU, Suns Up. He's a Sun Devil, Jerry Forks Up. He did it earlier. But let me officially welcome all of you in to the Sports Arena on a Monday night, 10 p.m., alongside the three gentlemen here joining us. And first off, Michael, to you, my brother, much love. Thank you so much for 18 years plus, man. And we are just truly getting started. To my brother Denzel, it is an honor to have you on the show tonight, man, because I know when you hear the energy is definitely in the building. To my man who I call the pit bull, my brother John Shear, you no longer run the yard, and you will acknowledge, because we the ones, okay? Let's just call it what it is. But it is so good. I can't tell you how happy it makes me to see all of us together again. Let's not waste any more time. Mike, yo, do your thing, brother. I'm here.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, I was telling Denzel, I didn't realize Jimmy Butler was going to show up for the game. So, but we're talking, we're going Justin Jefferson. Obviously, the extension first. I know we mentioned it towards the end of the season. Guys wanting money, as we've all seen today. Oh, and by the way, quick side note, Eric, I saw your post today. I just hope you weren't yelling at me. I just hope you weren't yelling at me because I'm with you.
Mike, I wasn't yelling at anybody.
No, I
was
know.
simply saying,
I'm Italian. I just say yelling because everybody takes it as yelling. You know me. It's not. That's
right.
Just talking loud.
I was just simply saying that we need to make sure the world knows our greatness, because everybody else who wants to now jump on board thinking they know something about the W, let me be the first one to let y'all know. Okay. And as I like to do from time to time, I like to remind people, like, y'all don't see, I got receipts, y'all. When this man right here is center court with the head coach of the 2021 WNBA champions, and then is there for the parade, and it is because of people in this picture that I know y'all can maybe not see or see, that elevates greatness to another level. Like, it just gets to me sometimes. And every once in a while, you already know, I got to come out of retirement and I just got to say what I got to say. I don't always do it because that's not who I am. But Justin Jefferson. Jefferson.
Well, I was going to say
4 years,
Jefferson,
140.
Oh yeah, it's 110 guaranteed. But no, we're going to start with Justin Jefferson. Sprinkle in a little salt and pepper, little obviously NBA Finals is finally going to get started. And, quick shout out to the Stanley Cup Finals because, hey, the New York Rangers lost, Eric. I really lost sleep when that happened. I was crying. Anyway, John knows I'm kidding too. I can't stand the Rangers, Denzel, so them losing is not a bad thing. So that real quick. And then obviously, like Eric's saying, with everything that is going on with Caitlin Clark, obviously a cheap foul, which I agree with one point I heard today, but we'll get to that. But let's start with Justin Jefferson, a 4-year extension, highest paid non-quarterback in the league. Look, and Eric and I always say that where he started, our boy Nuke is our receiver, Denzel. But what Justin Jefferson has done in 3 years, I mean, a few of those numbers, and we've seen them all today. I don't need to go down the rabbit hole of boring numbers, but they're insane because they're NFL leading in his short time in the league. A lot of them. So I'll start with you, Denzel. 110 million guaranteed, 88 million. Hey guys, how about he just splits that 88 million with the four of us? Because the second he signs his name, he gets $88.3 million, Denzel. But no, I mean, for the Vikings, look, you lose Kirk Cousins. I got to think you're probably thinking it's obviously smart to do to keep, if not the top receiver, one of the top 2-3 receivers in the league happy.
Absolutely. And let me just start off by saying I'm looking at it from two different angles here. As a man, I'm not mad at all for getting the bet because, we talking about generational wealth. We're talking about legitimately making money to make sure that you and your people and your family are set for generations, barring any, like crazy drug thing or bad investments or anything like that, But absolutely, I'm happy for him that he got this. Now, from an analyst standpoint, I actually consider this a win because considering that he lost the only quarterback that he'd ever really known in Kirk Cousins, and him even remaining with the Vikings, because let's face it, he's good enough. He probably could have gotten this money from anywhere else. But the fact that he has faith in J.J. McCarthy, and he's never played a snap, that shows that he wants to grow with him. He wants to learn with him. He wants to actually win with J.J. McCarthy because we all know receivers is greatest quarterback and vice versa, right? We've talked about this, on through time. But I mean, I'm not going to get long-winded or anything. I'm glad that he got his money and he's invested in the Vikings. The Vikings are invested in him. And now, it's a tall order in the NFC North because you got the emergence of the Lions. Those pesky Packers haven't gone away. And then there's your wild card Bears. People are kind of expecting them to fail. People kind of have like hope for them. We don't know,
Right.
Potentially tough division. But Justin Jefferson is going to get his. Believe that. He's going to get his.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
he's gonna earn barring an injury, he's gonna earn every cent of 140 mil. Book it. You heard it from your boy right here. He's gonna earn every cent.
Oh, Eric, he's pulling your bookie. Well, that's a great transition, Denzel. Because Eric, I was going to go to you next. So you notice it's a 4-year deal, right? And what happens at the end of 4 years? Well, they can obviously JJ McCarthy. They control him for 5. They can do the 5th-year option, or they can sign him to a long-term deal. So Justin Jefferson's next contract, if it's with the Vikings, might be for a teeny hometown discount, because if McCarthy, like Denzel saying, playing to that thing, but a 4-year deal. But Eric, you and I talked about this a while back. Like, as much as you like to rip on Kirk Cousins, you always said his agent was smart because it was a 3-year deal, all guaranteed. Then another 2-year deal, all guaranteed. And now I know the Falcons one's what, a 4 or 5-year deal. But either way, Justin Jefferson goes 4 years. Teeny but shorter deal, is going to get another big contract. So the Vikings pretty much paying him. They can pay a few other people too in the next year or two. What does that do though when you see him get a 4-year deal? Do you see him staying in Minnesota? I know it's, projecting far ahead, but after those 4 years, because if McCarthy does what they think they can do with Kevin O'Connell, homie's going to be up for $40-50 million a year.
I really think it depends on what we see over these next 2 years. The first half of this 4-year deal with Justin Jefferson, because like you said, McCarthy on a rookie contract, he wants to show up, he wants to ball out. This division, as great as Mike, you and I and Ray have said, Mike, you and I more than Ray on the Lions, because he is very true to his Lions. Okay, but you and I'll take the two of us here. We have given the Lions the respect that they have deserved over the last several years because we've seen their emergence. And to Denzel's point, you're right. The Packers didn't go away. We were all skeptical about what the Jordan Love era was going to look like. And I go back to say this, not to pick at Mike, but just it is what it is. The fact that the youngest team in the NFL went into Jerry World last year in a wild card playoff game and did what no team was able to do all season long, that was beat the Cowboys in Jerry World, speaks to where Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur have this team. So now we're questioning Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, because that is the huge question mark. You're the number 1 draft pick. You're going to get put out there. What are you going to do? Well, that leaves the Vikings, a team that has always been on the cusp, a team that has always gotten to the first round, maybe even the second round of the postseason, but never has achieved that next level. But Justin Jefferson said, okay, you got this young kid. Let me get my bag, and then let's go to work. So I am curious. I don't know, and I'm sure when we get to August and we start doing our preseason predictions, I'll have a better understanding and a better view of what's going on. But for right now, Justin Jefferson, congratulations on your $140 million over 4 years. But I know there's a tall order with him because he just reset the market from all them other wide receivers who feel they are just as good, if not albeit better, than Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, and that's a great segue too, Eric, because John, that's what I was going to go with you too. I mean, we see the money, and now we know, obviously, CeeDee Lamb is in line. Jamar Chase is in line for the next contract. But look, with what Justin Jefferson has done, but with what Justin Jefferson has done, like I said to you, I mean, you look at his first 4 years, like all-time NFL, like number 1. Like when you look at what were they saying, like not receptions, but like yardage for the first 4 years, number 1 all time. And when you think of that list, like, okay, yeah, the league has changed. We know it's a passing league, John, but at the same time, there's a lot of damn great receivers that we've seen, and he's now number 1 in a 4-year span all time. What does that do in your eyes for, take it this way, for Jamar Chase, for CeeDee Lamb, especially those two? Because, those are the next 2 biggest names up on the list.
Oh, it does everything. Well, I mean, I don't know how you can say Tyreek Hill's not on that list. I mean, you're not going to put CeeDee Lamb over Tyreek Hill.
He's got another 2 years.
No. Drew Rosenhaus spoke today, and they asked him about it, and he said he's been in constant contact with with the Dolphins front office, and he basically said they know how to reach us and they know what we want. And Tyreek Hill's been talking about wanting a new deal, and there's been rumors that he wants that brand new deal, and he wants and it's no coincidence, Mike, that as soon as Justin Jefferson got his brand new deal, Drew Rosenhaus came out today right after that and had that conversation. That interview airs right after Justin Jefferson gets his money. Drew Rosenhaus isn't an idiot. He's one of the best in the world for a reason, because he knows now that $35 million is the thing.
Next question,
he wants
please.
35.5. Like, Tyreek Hill's going to get his bag. Nico Collins is going to get his bag in Houston.
He already got
He's going to have to get paid. And CeeDee Lamb. But also what it does, if you're the Vikings, is it hurts the Cowboys, because now it forces the Cowboys to pay even more money to their best receiver, and it hurts them cap-wise, and it kind of limits one of the better teams in the NFC, because they have to put all that money, on one player. They have no choice but to do that. So the Cowboys will be kind of, limited whenever it comes to that, because they really don't have anything else to throw to receiver-wise. So, yeah, it resets the market, and then you're going to have Jamar Chase reset it, CeeDee Lamb reset it, Tyreek Hill reset it, and it's going to keep happening, and it's going to keep getting higher until somebody hit 40.
And even with the Cowboys, there's a question with that, because, okay, what's going to happen we talked about this. What's going to happen with Dak after this season?
I already have that answer. I know that answer.
Then on top of that.
Yeah, Jerry Jones did that because the contract of Dak and Mike McCarthy run out next year after this season. And he can cut ties with both of them at the same exact time if he wants to, and basically start over the head coach quarterback combo. There's a lot of Cowboys talk, but I'm just saying that's not a bad move to have them both one more year, and then you can cut ties with them.
Keep in mind, you still got to pay Micah too. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Right. No, they're going to pay Micah Parsons. I mean, that's that. But look, each year, here's the thing. Each year the cap's going to go up. Now, look, Eric knows how I feel about Dak. Yes, I know he can play and perform. He has not delivered in the playoffs. Yes, the injuries last year, like Eric said, against the Packers, I mean, you had no true linebacker. Dan Quinn, Mike Zimmer, doesn't matter who was there. As much as I love Dan Quinn, you don't have a true linebacker. Guess what? You are not stopping a running back like that, obviously, with just a safety. But what I was going to say, CeeDee Lamb, I think, yes, his contract will be big. I don't think it's as big as Justin Jefferson's. I think it's a little bit under that, because to what John just said, Eric, yes, we all know they have to re-sign Micah Parsons, and yeah, they can do that after next season. Well, after next season, too, a percentage of the cap's going to go up. Now, with Dak, look, you win a playoff game, you get to the NFC Championship, and unfortunately, maybe you fall short.
That's it right there, Mike. That's it right there.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's what it is for Dallas.
I've said this to you a million times. Like, you get that, and yes, I understand. It's just like when and Denzel, when you were on, when I remember we were talking about it, Tony Romo got blamed for a lot. Tony Romo, when they lost the division against Washington that year, they both finished. I think the Cowboys finished 8-8. Washington beat them. Washington had over 555 yards of offense. Does Tony Romo play defense? Like, when Dak gets blamed for stuff like that, and you say, "Oh, the whole game's Dak's fault."
Mike,
I'm not saying you do it. I'm not saying you do that.
No, but listen to me. But hold on. But just listen to me real quick. You hit the nail on the head when you said NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
That has been the talk
right.
of the Dallas Cowboys since Jason Garrett was coaching.
Right.
It was get to the NFC Championship game, because for whatever reason, that has been the ceiling for you guys. Yep. You haven't been able to get past the second round of the postseason.
Yep.
And now what Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and the rest of that organization has to do, because CD wants that money. Now, you being a fan and also a journalist, you are looking at it from a business perspective. You got to pick one right now, Mike. You can't be business. You can't be, this is one of them times where I'm holding your feet to the fire, and I do not want a Michael Carrotino answer. You either be the fan, you either be the true Dallas Cowboy fan that I love and hate, or you be Mike Carrotino, the journalist. But can you honestly sit there and say, after what transpired today between Justin Jefferson getting his money, as John alluded to, Drew Rosenhaus coming out and making his claim about what Tyreek Hill should be getting,
yep,
Do you honestly think that CeeDee Lamb is just going to sit there and say, if Jerry and Steven is going to come at him and say, well, we'll give you, let's just say 4 years, 110. Do you really believe that CeeDee Lamb is going to sit there and accept that, knowing that in his heart, in here, Mike, he believes he is better than Justin Jefferson? You either give me the fan or you give me the journalist. But
no,
you
my
pick
journalistic answer. My journalist.
Okay, so then you're going as a journalist.
No, it's a journalist. It's a journalistic answer. But you can still answer this as a fan.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot.
Okay,
you have to pick one.
Okay, pick one.
Hear what I say, and then you'll.
No, I'm not hearing what you're saying. You got to pick one, Mike.
If he gets 4 years,
so you're going as a journalist. Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
4 years. So because Jefferson got 4 years, 140, 110 of it's guaranteed. If they do a 4-year deal, or in Jerry's case, I bet you they try to do a 5-year deal. So that say they do 5 years at say 135, right? But he still gets 110 guaranteed. It's the same money, E. So as a fan, you can see that because it's a year longer.
It's not the same money. It's less than Justin Jefferson.
That
matters.
But the guarantee is still the same. You guys are saying,
I'm not saying you want to have more average than Justin Jefferson. That's what you want to have.
No, because the guaranteed money. John, think back to when the whole signing bonus thing. When Michael Vick,
ego. I want more JJ.
Was the first to sign a 10-year deal, and it was 155 million or whatever it was at the time, and so he had I think 85 guaranteed, if I remember right, before the court case started. It was something like that, 85, 90 guaranteed. But Michael Vick was going to be the first. Yeah, that's fine. You can say all you want, Josh. Michael Vick was going to be the first to see every penny of a contract because there was no way he wasn't going to be in Atlanta 10 years later because he was, 24 when he signed that? 23? So he was only 21 he was 21. So he's like 24 when he signed that contract, that extension. I'm just saying it's the guaranteed money. Because, John, you could say, the yearly value. If they cut him after 3 years, yes, it does. Because if they cut him after 3 years, you're only on the hook for the 110. Justin Jefferson's getting 88 for signing his contract.
What are you talking about? They're not cutting CeeDee Lamb.
If you cut him after 2 years, guess what? It's a because
I don't see them cutting him after 2 years.
What do you?
It's any player. Okay, if you stop talking and you'd actually hear. I'm not saying they would, but if you cut any player, say they do, so CeeDee Lamb, say he does a 5-year deal. After 2 years, say they cut him. The 110 is the guaranteed money he's getting. I'm not.
Well, why are they cutting him?
Because it's a cap casualty. So you give him 88, 85 the first year. Just like if you guarantee the same money. I'm not saying at $10 million a year. No, you're going to go 5 years. Say you go 5 years, 135, and you guarantee 110. That's all it's guaranteed. All these guys that get cut and waived, that they sign 4 or 5 year deals. If they don't see the last 2 years, the guaranteed money is the only thing that sticks. They don't get the last 2 years of the contract.
Eric held your feet way too close to the fire.
It's not baseball. No, it's not baseball, John. You can say it all you want.
He had his feet way too close to the fire.
Money. That's why it's the guaranteed money that matters.
You got to go to the ER, man, and get that.
And your boy Tyreek just signed his 122 years ago. The Dolphins don't have to give him crap. So fine, sit out, don't play, don't make a cent. Do everybody a favor.
Mike, you truly missed my point in this conversation because you did exactly. Because you did exactly.
He signed for 5 years and 135 and get 110 guaranteed.
Mike, you did exactly what I knew you was gonna do. I said I did not want a Mike Caratenuto answer, and that's exactly what you did.
5 years, 135 million, so it's 5 million less, but 110 is guaranteed.
Because it's 5 million less, Mike.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is.
Right.
These guys care about that.
They care about Mike. Okay, so let me ask you a question. All right, let's just take me and you for a minute. All right, if someone comes to me and wants me to do play-by-play, which is your forte. Let me be very clear, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Caratenuto, one of the best to do play-by-play.
Beast.
But if you and I are the new Romo and Jim Nantz, okay, let's just put it out there, you and me, and they come to me and they say, Eric, we're going to give you 3 years, $40 million. And then they come to you, Mike, and they say, Mike, we're going to give you 3 years, $36 million. And you know in your heart, Michael Caratanudo, that you are a much better play-by-play guy than I am. You mean to tell me that $4 million ain't going to eat at you a little bit?
Well, in this scenario, you're the analyst, though, and you're the former player. So, okay, $4 million. Okay, at that point, yeah. But at the same time, players are getting more.
So thank you.
Analysts,
thank
Tony
you for
Romo
answering.
got more, but he was
Mike,
making more than Jim Nantz when he stepped in the studio.
Mike, thank you for answering my question. Because you just said, yes, it would stick in your craw a little bit.
But if it's all guaranteed, I got $36 million.
Mike, look.
5 years isn't guaranteed.
Let me show you
hold on, John, hold on. Why are you guys missing that? Because if somebody's Patrick Mahomes signed a 10-year deal to be friendly to the Chiefs, right? Mm-hmm. And he's got a lot of that money, but there's still a lot out there. If they cut him, not that they would, but say after 7 years, right? After 7 years of this deal, they're like, all right, man, he's 33, 34. We found this new young quarterback. They draft somebody. After 7 years, if they cut him, guess what? The last $150 million, that's quote unquote on the that's a yearly deal, he doesn't get. Because it's not a guaranteed contract. The guaranteed money is. So that's all I'm saying to you guys. Is it $5 million? Yes. Yeah, less? Absolutely. I understand that. But
let me read you some numbers.
Guys always say they look at the guaranteed money. Yeah, you're the highest paid guaranteed money. What's the guarantee? Justin Jefferson's got the highest guarantee of a non-quarterback ever.
Let me read you all right, go ahead, John. Then
let me read you some numbers, Mike, right? Because I told you this matters to players, right? Jared Goff just signed a contract. He just got his new contract. Guess how much more he makes than Justin Herbert per year? $500,000. You tell me that's a coincidence that he's only $500,000 more per year over Justin Herbert, second highest paid per year in the league behind Joe Burrow. Mm-hmm. Why do you think he's just barely above Herbert per year? Herbert is $500,000 per year above Lamar Jackson. You think that's a coincidence? Lamar Jackson is $1 million per year.
Because each agent sees it and they go up.
Lamar Jackson's $1 million per year over Jalen Hurts.
Patrick Mahomes set the market. Go after
Kyler Murray is $100,000. He makes $100,000 per year more than Deshaun Watson. You tell me that's a coincidence that these guys are just barely above that guy right below them per year?
Deshaun Watson is robbing people because he ain't played in 2 years.
That's not my point. The agents do this on purpose because of the ego of these guys.
Yeah, and they
got to have an ego to be an athlete.
All you ever hear is resetting the market. But if you guarantee, so if I look at you,
that's why they do it. Guys have egos.
If I look at you three and I say, okay, I'm going to give you 5 years, $125 million, but it's 5 years, $130 million because it's what? Because Jefferson got 140. So if I give you 5 years,
got 4 years, 140.
4 years, 140. So if I say I'm going to give you 5 years at 130. But I guarantee 115. I just guaranteed you now the $5 million more than he's getting guaranteed. Because like Denzel said, injury comes up, you get cut, you get waived. Yeah, you got the guaranteed, and that's it.
Well, let me add this, Mike. Let me add this, too. You think Matt Stafford and Dak Prescott, who make $40 million a year,
right,
you think that they don't want brand new deals when they're sitting getting paid the same amount per year as Daniel Jones? You think they want to be associated with Daniel Jones with how much they make per year? Matt Stafford's a Super Bowl champion. Dak Prescott's set.
I ain't gonna lie, that would eat in my ego. Like, yo, I know I'm better than DJ.
Why would if I'm
here's the thing, you're saying all these quarterbacks. Okay, so Patrick Mahomes, if we're gonna say he's the best quarterback in the game, was the highest paid for about 6 months, a year, whatever. But he reset the market, and now all these quarterbacks jumped above him. So Again,
Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady are they're the exception, not the rule.
No, because Tom Brady never signed a contract as big as Mahomes.
Those two are all about team-friendly deals. Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes have taken team-friendly deals.
That's why he won 10 years, because
careers.
they can sit there.
And they're all about business.
They're all about business. The other guys are all about money.
Right. They can move money around, but it's not like it's a team-friendly deal, John, because Mahomes' deal was 10 years. It's still $500 million. It's still reset the whole market.
Getting back to your point, let's answer the question. You said, let's say they give CeeDee Lamb 5 years, 130, but they give him 115 in guaranteed money. So your contract is essentially 10 million. Your contract is 10 million less than Justin Jefferson. It's an additional year, but you're getting $5 million more guaranteed than what Justin Jefferson is getting. Would CeeDee Lamb take that? I would venture to guess he would strongly consider it.
Mm-hmm.
But whether it's guaranteed money or not, Mike, at the end of the day, when that blip comes across the bottom of the screen, Justin Jefferson needs to know, oh, CeeDee Lamb got more than me, because that's what CeeDee wants. CeeDee Lamb, I get your point about the guaranteed money, but CeeDee Lamb wants to know that, okay, you did 4 years, 140. Dallas, I want 4 years, 150. Or 4 years, I don't care if it's 141.
140 and a penny. Like, as long as he gets more.
As long as he gets more. We're talking about the wide receiver position. And we can go through the litany of wide receivers who have just revolutionized and changed the game. Okay? CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, throw any other name you want to throw in there who you feel is a top-level wide receiver in the game right now. They want to know. They want the world to know that they are number one. It don't matter about anybody else, especially when it comes to their money. They want to know that I beat that guy. Yep. Not only did I beat him in yards, hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. Not only did I beat him in yards, not only did I beat him in touchdowns, not only did I beat him in winning percentage, but I also beat him in his pocket.
Yep, and that's where it matters.
Right, but here's the thing. Here's the thing too. When you look at what I said Justin Jefferson did in 4 years, nobody's done that. His numbers have been better. No, hold on. If you're going to talk numbers,
CeeDee Lamb has more catches and touchdowns than Justin Jefferson. One less All-Pro, 4 more touchdowns, 3 more catches, and 700 less yards. That's pretty damn close to Justin Jefferson, and they played the same amount of years.
But Tom, when you're a GM, you're negotiating
more.
Less is less. But what I'm saying is, in a 4-year span, though, or 3-year span, Justin Jefferson, like, tops, like right there. And you look at last year. I mean, if you're going to say, okay, injuries, and you could say, okay, 2 years ago, CeeDee Lamb had Cooper Rush thrown to him for 5 games. But he only had 1 interception. So, I mean, you'll take that from Cooper Rush.
He threw 5 times a game.
No, he threw him more than that, but he hit the tight ends a lot. He hit Dalton Schultz a lot. But that being said, look, I'm not saying you don't want more, but if you look at it and you can say, okay, well, they did this. Quarterback's a whole different beast, because if you don't have that guy, you're done in the league. You're completely done. That is the one thing I look at. But look, Justin Jefferson, he deserves his bag. There's gonna be a lot of guys that are gonna sit there and be like, yeah, I want 1 cent more. And Justin Jefferson, I think teams, you're either going to give it to him or not. Yeah, the Cowboys should pay CeeDee Lamb. If it comes, like you said, if it comes between him and Dak, to your point, after next year, I mean, they can sever ways. The Cowboys don't get to an NFC Championship game. Look, will parts of me miss Dak doing certain things? Yes. But if I look at it, I mean, come on. I look down the road in Houston, and yes, they won a freaking playoff game with a rookie freaking quarterback. I don't care.
Mike, you just went 4 different directions. I'm really not sure where you're going.
I'm just saying, if you're going to pay somebody, I'm paying CeeDee Lamb, but I'm paying.
Well, you went from Dallas to Houston. You stayed in Texas, but you.
No, but I'm just saying, if you look at who they have to pay, it's one of those things. But
as a Cowboys fan, who should get more money? Just asking you, Mike. CeeDee or Micah?
Oh, Eric.
Micah.
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 Defensive side of the ball. Like, come on. I mean,
that's not even a question.
Always had a premium.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We get back. We're gonna talk a little NBA Finals because they're set and the Earth is round. Not according to Kyrie, it's flat, but who cares? He is back in the finals. He is playing well. Eric's laughing at me. He's playing well, but you know what? We'll hit the NBA Finals on the other side. Love the National Scouting Combine. Eric's a stud 40 runner, so he had a great enough time. I didn't have to try and make up the time for us this past year, but next year I'm gonna run it just for fun and see what we do. But anyway, we are back. He's Eric Wilson. He is the genius that created this.
You do realize that I've run the 40 and I don't train, right? Like these athletes who go to the National Scouting.
That's why I said.
If you're gonna run it next year, Mike. That's the only rule. You can't train. Because I don't train
for 40, but I'm still going to exercise.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying.
What do you think your 40 is going to be?
Mike's 40?
Yeah, what does he think it's going to be?
I honestly, real talk, I think Mike, like myself, I think he'll be under 6.
Okay.
I think so.
Well, he's got long legs, so the stride might be able to help him catch up. Despite the lack
I'm not going to have John break down my stride lane, having run track, having played soccer, having played football. Anyway, let's get to hoops, guys. Let's get to hoops. So no Phoenix Suns. I'll get it out of the way because I don't want to hear John yap. No Miami Heat. No Philadelphia 76ers. And, well, no Houston Rockets. But anyway, none of our teams are there. But the Boston Celtics are back. Dallas, 25-30-1 when the playoffs started. They were
Look at underdogs. You with the betting odds. Look at you, Mike Carrots.
I know they were 25. They were like 25-30-1 to win the finals, start of the playoffs. But that's because too in the first round, as you remember, they were underdogs against the Clippers. And I don't go crazy betting, but one of my friends said, "Oh man, you're a Cowboys fan." But someone, I'm like, Mavericks. They don't. I'm like, yeah, they're second best defense. I go, you know me, nobody's beaten Denver, and well, Minnesota took care of that and then got smacked by Dallas. So hats off to Dallas there, But John, okay, sorry with you. When you look at this matchup, we've heard, I mean, for all day today, Jason Tatum needs to do this and that. You know, if Jaylen Brown outplays him, Jason, it's like if you win a championship, you win a championship. But this Celtics team, all this time off too, they dispersed of Indiana in 4. They gave Porzingis extra time, which again was the way he fit all year with this team, the way the chemistry started to grow with that team, with him on the court. You look at Boston as a heavy favorite, John?
Of course, they're the favorite. They were the best team in the league all year, basically. So, of course, they're the favorite. But you can always count on Tatum to turn it over in crunch time. In the finals, you can always count on that. And Luka gets basically a week to rest that knee. That's something you really have to focus on because he basically played that series on one leg. In the conference finals, he played it on one leg, and he still was pretty damn good. Now he gets a week to rest that knee. Arguably the best player in the world. You give him a week to heal up. I mean, this has Mavs written all over it. You're going to watch the Celtics fumble the ball away. You're going to see Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum choke like they always do. And Luka and Kyrie will step up. And don't forget about Gafford. He's going to be an X factor too. He was really good in that conference finals against Minnesota. He's a big piece inside.
Well, I will say this: if PJ Washington hits threes like that, it'll match the Celtics threes. Denzel, your thought on the matchup, because I mean, it seems like from what matchups look like, I mean, they're talking about today, but Jaylen Brown guarding Kyrie Irving. Now, as much as Eric knows, he'll have to pick on Kyrie. Yes, of this generation, his handles are sick. His handles are unbelievable. A little bit better score than the guy that I think, and Eric knows, who had the guy I saw play live at Eric's backyard in Philly there. But Allen Iverson, to me, live had the best damn hand. I mean, it was ridiculous. But Kyrie aside, that matchup with Brown, what do you think of that? Because to John's point, okay, Luka gets time off. They all get the time off. Porzingis gets the time off too. But to John's point with that, like, I think defensively, Brown could probably maybe take Kyrie off his game a little bit more than Kyrie could take Brown off of his game.
One thing, and I saw a post earlier that said, either way you spin it, Luka's going to get his. He's going to get his. He's 35, 40, 45, however much he dropped. He's got a contract on everybody else. Now, you mentioned P.J. Washington, and I've been paying attention to him a lot in this postseason.
Real quick, Eric, I got a side note on P.J. Washington. There was actually he was playing for a team in his high school team was in Vegas, and I actually called two of the tournament games, and I actually talked to him after the second one, just chatting with him when he was here. And in high school, I saw it. I was like, man, I mean, you talk about he wasn't even worried about shooting. I mean, he could shoot from the outside. People would be off him so much because he got one step, and I mean, he threw down some sick dunks. But sorry, Denzel, go ahead.
You good.
Just be shout outs. I got to say I was actually there. Thank you, Eric. Sorry, Denzel.
No, you're all good, man. Like I said, P.J. Washington this is the time where the superstars are going to do their thing, and we all know, and me and Megan have talked about this all the time, every single year, deeper team wins. Deep best bench wins. This is where the role players are like, this is their time, because we know what Kyrie is going to do. We know what Luka's going to do. We know what JT's going to do. We know what Jaylen Brown's going to do. This series, like anywhere else, is going to be about what everyone else is going to do. Now, with that being said, and Kyrie, and you talk about his handles, hey, don't get it twisted. He will still leave a lot of people on bad skates. I've seen him do it to a couple of people this last series. I'm going to take the Mavericks in 6. I think Boston gets 2 games on them. I'm going to take the Mavericks in 6 games, though. Okay. And I may be an outlier in this, but I'm just going to say it. I think this is maybe a hidden narrative, if you will. But I'm just going to put it out there. Maybe it's the king of hot takes, okay? I think Kyrie secretly wants to prove he can win one without LeBron. I think he wants to secretly prove that he can win one without LeBron, because he's kind of tied to that championship, right? Now,
yeah, but he won that championship for LeBron. LeBron put up like what?
Doesn't matter.
Bricks?
Still LeBron James.
Who won most valuable player?
Doesn't matter.
In that series?
But LeBron still won most valuable player. You know.
No, but I'm just saying, if it's just like John's Miami Heat team. If Ray Allen didn't hit that, I mean, LeBron had put up.
It doesn't matter. If LeBron's part of it.
Why are you doing that, Mike? See, Mike. No, you got
Ray
to go
hit
with
the
it.
shot, but
That wasn't even
most
necessary.
valuable player.
That wasn't even
My point
necessary.
is this. My point is this.
Mike got to the second round of the playoffs like the Cowboys, and he failed out.
People are going to tie that title to LeBron James. Now, yes, he may be one alpha on this squad. It's Luka's team. I get it, okay? But LeBron has that stigma as the best player in the game. And I honestly think he wants to prove that he can do it without LeBron James. He's going to be a little bit more motivated. And that's no shade to the king, but he's going to be a little bit more motivated to win it this time around. Again, I got the Mavs in 6 games. Y'all go ahead.
Oh, think about this. He also did play for Boston, so he probably wants to stick it to Boston as well. Don't forget that.
Wait, sticking to Boston is one thing, and I'm going to get to Eric. I want to get to you on this too, because that was giving me my question for Eric. Sticking to Boston is one thing. He said he was going to stay there, and all of a sudden they're talking contracts, and all of a sudden he's like, I want to get out of here. But when so we talk Kyrie, and John mentioned and Luka, and Denzel just talking about the depth. Look, Al Horford, whatever, and you know me, I hate when people, whatever, he's so old. But Al Horford, if Porzingis starting and Horford coming off the bench, does a lot for the Celtics rotation, especially with that second team. But your thought on that, Eric? Your thought on Denzel's got the Dallas in 6. Do you feel there's more pressure on the Celtics, or that they've been this locomotive all year?
That's not even a question. That's not even a question. The pressure is all on Boston.
Really?
Okay. The pressure is all on Boston. What did the Mavs do? The Mavericks, as you said when we started this conversation, 25 to 30 to 1 to make it, or even to win the NBA Finals.
As a 5th seed, mind you. Go ahead.
Right. Exactly. When you come out the gate as Eastern Conference champions, when you, with the 2 guys that you have on that squad, in Tatum and Brown, have been a top team, not only in the Eastern Conference, but in the NBA for the last several years. As we have said numerous times here on the Sports Arena, and I'm sure as John has said on Sideline Sports, the basement for the Boston Celtics with Tatum and Brown has been the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay? If this was Boston-Denver, the pressure would be shifted over to Denver. Can they repeat? Can Jokic and Gordon and Murray and all them, can they do it again? That's not out. That's gone. Then we thought, okay, well, maybe Ant-Man in Minnesota. Could they be the guy? Because all the talk was Ant-Man looking like MJ, looking like Kobe. You know what I'm saying? It was like, is he the next face of the NBA? Well, now he gone. And who's left? Kyrie Irving and Luka. Okay, let put that into perspective for a moment. The team that people thought maybe was, to Denzel's point, 5th in the Western Conference to even make it. The pressure's all on Boston. Boston has been to the dance, but they ain't never been crowned king. They played second fiddle to whoever was in the Western Conference. So Tatum and Brown, yes, the pressure is all on y'all. It is on this team this year to win their 19th franchise championship.
Crazy when you say that, man. Bill Russell, the man.
18. Look at this. How many years have we gone back and forth about who's going to be the first team between the 2 historic franchises, the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers? Who's going to be the first team to get number 19?
Right.
Boston has been to the finals and hasn't got it done. When LeBron and the Lakers did, they got theirs. So now we're
championship, but yeah,
whatever, John, you can call it whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, they are the title holders.
If Miami won, it wouldn't have been called that.
No. We ain't even talking about that.
Well,
but my point is, now it's like, okay, you running this race. This race has been ran for generations, decades, whatever. The pressure is all on Boston. Now, Mike, to your point earlier about Tatum needing to be Tatum. Yeah, Tatum does need to be Tatum. Bro, you can't be Batman. Or you can't call yourself Batman and play like Nightwing or play like, whomever else. You got to be the dude.
Right,
you got to be the dude each and every night.
Yeah, but my frustration, I mean, when you get to the frustration.
What are you going to be frustrated about?
It's not like Jalen
When you
Brown.
the alpha. When you the alpha, okay, guess what? That's your responsibility. I'm tired of this whole. But we ain't talking about Jalen Brown. We ain't talking about Jalen Brown. Kyrie and Luka have given you the formula on how to coexist and make it work.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying Tatum and Brown don't. But if Tatum wants to make himself the true dude, then he has to play on that level.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm not saying you need to show up, because I mean, even the first finals when the Warriors went and Iguodala won MVP, people like Steph Curry didn't win MVP. Well, Steph Curry didn't have that great of a series, but to me, it's just it. And I'm not comparing Tatum and Curry. I'm just saying it's funny to me because everything we heard from when the Western Conference, especially in the finals, oh yeah, I mean, okay, Luka led in scoring. Then one game they each had like 33, and then one night one had 35, one had 28. It's like if Tatum and Brown do that, I look at the Celtics winning. But okay, who do you have, Eric? Denzel said Dallas in 6. What about?
I put it on. Listen, I'm an Eastern Conference guy. I got the Celtics winning in 6.
Okay, John.
This is gonna go 7. Mavs in 7. They break Boston's heart on Boston's court.
Wow. Well, then you guys are all thinking I'm crazy. I'm going Celtics, the C's in 5. Close games. All close games. All close games.
Crazy.
By the way, Mike.
That's fine.
By the way, you mentioned. Well, Eric mentioned Tatum's got to get it done. Remember, LeBron had that same narrative on him until he won his first championship with Miami. All they talked about, remember on First Take on ESPN, the only thing they talked about day in and day out, LeBron can't get it done. He's a choke artist, can't get it done. Until he got it done, that was his label. That was forever his label until he got it done.
Well, yes, because when he got Cleveland there, but when they lost the first one to the Spurs, like they didn't say he was a choke artist then because the Spurs were just going to beat whoever.
When he went with Miami and they didn't get it done, they got back to the finals. All you heard was he's a choke artist. He can't get it done until he got it done. It's the same with Tatum. Until he gets it done, it's going to be his label and his legacy.
So I go Celtics and 5 because we're talking matchups, and the guy that again has played obviously steady all year. I mean, I didn't even mention Drew Holiday, which was Eric when we saw that signing.
Great.
We saw that defensively. That was best. No. But I'm saying Derek White.
Listen, I agree with you. Jason Tatum has all the complementary pieces around him.
Right.
Okay. He has all the tools and resources to be the guy. And you notice, like you said, Mike, all the talk is on Tatum. Why is none of the talk on Brown? You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because Brown ain't about that. Brown understands his role. Mm-hmm. He understands where his position is and what he needs to do.
30 a night.
It's very much like when, as John said, when LeBron came to Miami, what did D Wade do? D Wade stepped aside and said, bruh, here are the keys. And what did it do? It brought them championships. At least one. I mean, but that's my point.
Thank you, Ray Allen.
All right. Regardless, the pieces were there.
Right.
Boston has the pieces.
Oh yeah.
Tatum just has to drive.
Right. Well, and I think obviously Danny Ainge drafting, and I mean the trades he pulled off. You and I cracked up. Like, why would anybody agree to give this much capital to the Celtics?
Listen,
2 or 3 teams did it. But
keep in mind, the Dallas Mavericks are the worst type of team to face right now because they were a 5th seed and got hot at the right time. They eliminated the 4 seed, the 2 seed, and the 1 seed. They got hot at the right time as a 5th seed. They're more battle tested.
And if you're Boston, like Miami gave you the best fight out of any of the 3 teams you played. Miami was an 8 seed. The other 2 teams didn't give you near the fight Miami gave you.
I get that.
No, you haven't been tested at all.
I get that. But when I
can extend on that. When you win the East by 14 games, and they didn't have really a meaningful game for about a month, basically, because they knew they were cruising in the East, but they kept winning games, John. We talked about
when things get real, and it's about to get real when you play Luka and Kyrie. What happens? How do you respond after not having been challenged?
Indiana was healthy the first game, and they choked away a lead.
It's not that they haven't been. They haven't been. It's like a pitcher. Like they haven't labored through anything.
That's fine.
Everything has been smooth sailing.
Laboring or not, their talent's still there. So,
John and Denzel, I'll agree with you on that. That Boston hasn't really been tested this postseason, with the exception of Miami. I'll give you that one. But what I will say to you is, look at what they did all season. They didn't let anybody get even close. Get close to them in the Eastern Conference. They solidified themselves throughout the entire season in order to be where they currently are.
Hold on.
To your point, I will agree with you. The Mavs a team that wasn't even, again, in the top 4 to be considered making the postseason. And yes, Denzel, they got hot at the right time. But at some point, your hotness is going to begin to fizzle. And that's why I want this series to be good. All Boston has to do after game 1, and I'm going to call it right now. And John, perk up because you're going to love it. I ain't said it to you in a minute, but I'm going to say it.
Do it.
Okay? After game 1, we're going to see what these two teams are about. If Boston comes away, win or loss, after game 1, and they have time to retool themselves and prepare themselves for game 2, John Shear, I'm booking it right now. The Boston Celtics are winning game 2 because they will have been punched in the face and understand the battle-tested Mavericks are for real.
It's a team that's literally only lost 2 games in the playoffs, the Boston Celtics. But we go from there. I say season 5. Denzel says Dallas in 6. John says Dallas in 7. And Eric, you said Boston in 6.
I did.
Yes, all right, sweet. All right, let's get to Eric. I'm just going to go to you because you started the show off with it the right way. Let's get to Caitlin Clark, man.
Let's do it. Here we go.
The foul was that last foul everybody's talking about, and whether there should be.
Shout out to the playmaker, our boy Darnell, for having me on his show today this afternoon talking about this, because I feel like I got some of it out, but I was saving it for tonight. Let's be very clear about something, okay? Kennedy Carter, what she did was blatant and disrespectful. Okay, it was. It was not on the ball. And again, the referees, why it took them this long, 2 days, to upgrade the foul to a flagrant 1, I won't even get into that because I've had a problem with the WNBA refs since 2020. But that's another story for another time. Okay.
So you have no problem with Caitlin Clark pushing people herself and flopping. She flopped a couple times in that game. You have no problem with her flopping. You have no problem with her pushing people. But whenever somebody else hits her off the ball,
John,
that's when you have a problem with it. Did
John,
you like
what basketball
90s
player doesn't
Did
flop?
you like 90s
John?
basketball? Did you enjoy
John?
90s basketball, Eric?
See, John, here's the thing.
Remember
You never
Knicks
gave
every year in the
John?
playoffs?
Again, John Shear, you never gave me an opportunity to finish.
I was just asking questions.
I know, but you didn't give me a chance to finish
Go right ahead.
because I only talked
Just
about
ask.
one side of the story.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, no, John, I don't like when Caitlin flops, if this is what we are calling it.
She does
Okay.
flop a lot.
But what I will say to you is, in the game of basketball, and we all, to my knowledge, have all played the game, correct? Okay. So when you going up against somebody, and I always like to use Mike because Mike and I are roughly about the same build, same height. If Mike and I played one-on-one, okay?
I pay money for that.
Careful what you wish for. But I'm saying, Mike and I play one-on-one. Mike and I, as you know, we know each other. So we know our moves. We know what one is capable of versus the other. But if me and Mike in the paint, you're talking to 2 defensive guys who are from Jersey and Philly who have played the game of basketball. You know how Mike says, y'all listen to Jimmy, y'all don't hear Jimmy? See, y'all might think you know basketball, but Mike and I have played basketball. We've gone home with busted noses and broken ribs.
So
and
you're
fractured
Denzel
wrists.
Snipes, or you're Denzel, you're Snipes, and he's Woody Harrelson. 'Cause he
Pretty
kind of
much.
looks like Woody Harrelson a little bit.
I'm saying if they ever
Kind
want
of
to
looks
do
like him a little bit.
if they would ever want to do an offshoot of White Man Can't Jump, yeah, me and Mike could definitely fill in as body doubles.
Yeah, you guys.
But my
kinda,
point,
yeah.
but my point in all this saying this is, this has been going on in the W since its inception.
Mhm.
The problem, and y'all know me, I don't have problems. I have obstacles. But the problem right now is, with all the attention on Caitlin Clark, everything that is being done either by her or to her is going to get elevated to a level that honestly shouldn't be there. Because, and this is what I said on the Playmaker show earlier today. I said in 2021, I was at the WNBA Finals.
Yep.
Oh, I was courtside. And when Kalia Copper, who then played for the Chicago Sky, and Sophie Cunningham, who plays for the Phoenix Mercury, were going after a ball, Kalia Copper stood up and stood over Sophie Cunningham. So much so that that picture became like the shot with regards to the WNBA Finals.
Like AI over Ty Lue.
Exactly. Exactly. It is one of those things where, but again, how much talk was surrounded about that particular moment? How much did social media erupt? How much did the major networks talk about that? It might have been a blip. It might have been something that they just used as a filler. It is nowhere near what Caitlin Clark and forgive me. No, not Angel Reese. Kennedy Carter. It is nowhere near where this conversation. Mind you, this game happened on Saturday.
Right.
You realize that the Fever played again on Sunday.
Yep.
And got trounced by the New York Liberty. And no one's talking about that. Everybody is focused on Caitlin Clark and Kennedy Carter. But again, I go back to, this is why I said we need to be having these conversations.
Well, when
because
I was
we have been in those arenas.
When I was in the press conference last night for the Fever, I was in their press conference last night. Most of the questions were about Saturday. They were about the tired legs. They were about the mentally being tired. They were about everything was from Saturday. They're like, how tired are you guys from having to play back to back? How mentally tired are you? They kept asking questions about Saturday. They didn't really ask too many questions about the game Sunday. It was more so what happened from Saturday. Then they specifically asked the Fever coach again about that incident. So, even in the press conference a day later, after their Sunday night game, they're being asked about Saturday.
Yeah, and I think Weatherspoon's the comment from her statement, but I know she said some of it in the presser, John, from what I saw, but her statement about what Kennedy Carter did. And look, my only rebuttal to you, and I know Denzel, we were kidding around a while back. I mean, having grown up, like Eric knows, I mean, playing center mid, and people say, oh, I mean, the slow motion replay ruins soccer, and people, the rolling around, the embellishing. But what NBA player doesn't flop? They all basketball players.
No,
flop.
I'm not knocking Caitlin Ford. I'm just pointing it out.
To your point, I'm just saying, yes, it is when you see certain things and certain players, like Eric knows. He could say the name Manu Ginobili to me. If he said he liked Manu Ginobili, Eric knows I would never physically punch him, but he knows I'd kick him in the shins. If Eric said he liked Manu Ginobili, I would kick him in the shins. Just because I know Eric would probably give me a dead leg back, but that's fine. That being said, I don't promote violence here on the Sports Arena. I'm just saying, it's the whole flopping part of any sport. And John, I told you this before. When I played center mid up until my freshman year of college. And the older you get, people come in for slide tackles, people collide with you. I was the type that never wanted to go down. Now, a lot of times I didn't get calls. Now, sometimes when I went down, some officials would see and they're like, what? And if they gave me the calls before, it's like if I went down because it was a collision, whatever. If I went down, they wouldn't blow the whistle because I always tried not to. And were there times, certain spots of the field, if you would have bumped me a little bit, John, or if I saw your elbow extended and I was close to you, I wouldn't have thrown my arms up LeBron.
You just kind of went down.
I would have went down. Hopefully the refs and the linesman sees your elbow or arm extended. The whole flopping part of basketball, and that's why I brought up Manu Ginobili, because Eric and I had this conversation years ago. Do I respect his talent? Yes. Do I want to punch him squarely in the face if I ever played against him and get fined? Yes, because even though I don't condone it, it drives me nuts when
though you're condoning it, you don't condone it.
Yeah, even though I would do it, I don't condone it. No, even though I'm doing it, I don't condone it.
Mike very much is a do as I say, not as I do.
As I do. Yeah.
Come on, Eric knows I have a huge Italian family. I had to hear that a lot. I do something.
I don't promote it, but I do it.
I want to go to Denzel real quick on this because Denzel, I do have a question because I truly feel this. Out of the four of us on this screen, I feel you are the most level-headed.
Oh,
but
come
you
on.
had please, John. But you, Denzel, have had a lot of life experience, and you've seen a lot. You've been around a lot. When stuff like this happens, and I'm referring to specifically Caitlin Clark and Kennedy Carter, when you see stuff like this, what is your first initial reaction? Because I have one, but I'm curious what yours is.
My initial reaction, it reminds me of the one that happened last week where she got yoked down, and looking at the dark side of sports here. I'm not saying that anyone's putting a bounty on people. I'm not saying anyone's suggesting anything. Maybe someone got in someone's ear and said, hey, why don't you go show the Rook there a little lesson, a little welcome to the league, right? Is that entirely out of the realm of thought? Because we've seen it in other sports.
That's sports. That happens in every sport.
Professional sports. Yeah, and the justification typically is you're getting paid a lot of money, so sure, you can take it,
It just happened to Angel Reese. It just happened to her.
It just happened to Angel Reese, exactly. Now, but my initial thought is, well, that's just not right. I mean, it just isn't right at all. And not only that, but she took a bump like that, just the week prior. But I also believe that people are living a little too in the prisoner of the moment when it comes to Caitlin Clark, that they forget that she's a damn rookie. There are going to be moments where she looks like a rookie. She is readjusting to the game. You're not going to see 20 assists a game like she did at Iowa, okay? Notice the turnovers are high. Guess what? That's what happens when you come from college to the pros. Allow her time to adjust to the game. It's only been not even 10 games, and the jury's out for her.
Right.
Stop listening to the media hype. Stop listening to all of that and just look at her as a player. Now, if she's terrible 5 years from now, then it is what it is. And hadn't had a really good season, fine, do it, okay? But don't give this judgment 5 games in. That is unfair. She is still a rookie in this league, and she has to learn just like everybody else. But to answer your question, Eric, I was like, yeah, that was messed up.
So I have a question.
Denzel, did you see Becky Hammon's statement? Because Eric was looking that up loud when him and I talked about it. But when Becky Hammond, I think it was last Monday, saying, the pressure that Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson was doing the interview with her. Becky Hammond, in her true, it wasn't fake, was fired up by the end of she's like, yeah, it's a 22-year-old kid that has all this pressure on her shoulder. Why don't you just let her play basketball? I like her. I try to watch her as much as I could when she was in college. But, when you're competing against somebody, you want to beat them. But all this, we're not negative about her. And Asia Wilson's this has nothing to do with not liking her. But to your point, Denzel, Becky Hammond going off what you're saying, she's a rookie. Again, since there's only 12 teams, soon to be 13 and now 14, the talent level and the depth level is sick.
So I have a question. I just thought of this. So 12 players were drafted in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Cameron Brink get pulled down by her neck? I don't think I have. Have you seen,
to my knowledge, no.
Cardoso get pulled down?
John,
by
you
her
about
neck?
to answer
No.
your own question.
John,
you about to answer your own
was
question.
She pulled down by her neck? No. J.C. Sheldon? Nope. Aaliyah Edwards? No. Oh man, Elisa Pili? No. Carly Leedy? Nope. Lily Lakin? Nope. Marquis Davis? Nope. Pouch. I don't how to say your name. Oh, but only 2 of the top 12 picks were pulled down by their necks. It's a rookie. It's a rookie thing we're saying, right? It happens to all rookies. Now, we're 10 plus games in the season. Why isn't any of the stuff that happened to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, because it happened to Angel Reese just as much as it happened to Caitlin Clark, Why isn't it? Why haven't we seen? No. Because Angel Reese has gotten hers. Caitlin Clark's gotten hers,
but
so
not
has
as much as
Angel
Kate.
Reese.
Not as much as
Not as
Kate.
much as Caitlin
Angel
Clark.
Reese
And it
went
hasn't.
up in the air, and they pulled her by the neck in the air, grabbed her by the throat, and slammed her down. That
This
didn't
is
happen
also-
to Caitlin Clark.
This
She
is
may
also
have
the
been
same woman
slammed.
that received death threats as well, unwarranted death threats.
But
I
we
think you see
haven't
where
seen
this is
that
going,
happen.
John.
But if it happens to rookies, why hasn't it happened to any other rookie except them two? Why
Well,
hasn't it happened to Cameron Brink?
Well, Camilla
You know what I mean?
Cardoso.
Like,
Camilla
I just-
Cardoso's a rookie, and it hadn't happened to her because she's as tall as Michael,
No,
standing
I'm
on
just
Eric's
saying-
shoulders.
I'm
You know,
just
so-
saying, I wonder if it's just these two because of how polarizing they are, and the others aren't as polarizing as these two.
John,
I
from
just
the first
wonder
sentence, I knew where you're
if they have
going.
more of a
Yes,
target
that's
on their
exactly
backs.
what it is. That's
They have more-
exactly what it
Yeah.
is.
So, John.
Yeah, but John, to Eric's point,
I'm
though,
just saying,
too,
think
like,
about that.
but John, to Eric's point, like when I was talking about flopping, the one thing that I can't stand, look, if somebody fouls somebody, fine. If like, when you watch again, I love hockey. You guys know that. You guys like hockey, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, at times some hockey players kind of do it, but they know, like, if they embellish too much, the refs are just going to look at them and laugh and be like, "Are you kidding me?" In basketball, the whistle blows more often than not. But what Kennedy Carter did, to Eric's point, like Denzel said, you get up, it went in, she didn't even have the ball, and you come over and you just body check. I don't think that's a flop because she wasn't even looking at her, and you just get totally body checked and hit the floor. And to Eric's point, it's crazy that it took. I mean, yeah, this guy played a game the next day, and to your point, John, because like I said, I saw some of the post game. Everything was still about Saturday, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
now, of course, it's going to be talked about. And Caitlin Clark is like, and that's what Becky Hammond was saying. Eric and I were talking about that, like under such a spotlight. Pardon me. And like Charles Barkley said, it's like guys are.
Hold on. Here's what. Let's pull it up. Here's what Becky Hammond said. Okay, just so we got it clear. Here's what she said. Just want to make sure everybody can see this. All right, here we go.
We love Caitlin Clark. There's no. I think she's amazing. I watched every time I possibly could, and our league loves her. This has nothing to do. We're just doing our job. We're gonna show up. Who is ever on the other team is on the other team. We don't really care. We're gonna show up and do us. And so I think this narrative of like everybody hating on Caitlin Clark, and even the black and white thing, knock it off. It's not there. It's not there. So shut down the noise. And by the way, what is she, 22? She's a 22-year-old woman with a lot of pressure.
Not perfect.
She's not perfect. She's a rookie in this league. Like, back off.
Yeah.
Back off.
Learning and growing.
So that's what I wanted to ask you, Eric, man. Like, I see so much dumb stuff on social media, and I know it's social media, about how this is a race thing where they go after Caitlin Clark. And, I just think that narrative's so dumb. It's so lame to use the race card because of the rivalry. Angel Reese is black, Caitlin Clark's white. And then, people just, I hate that narrative. I feel like it takes so much away from players in this league.
Okay, so let me respond to that, John, because from where I sit, we're talking, in my opinion, we're talking about two different things. Okay, Caitlin Clark as an athlete is not. It's not a black and white thing. She is a rookie coming into the WNBA, the best professional women's basketball league in the world. So she is going to go through the same trials and tribulations that every other rookie's had to go through. The only difference is because she was so highly visible in college, and because the era of social media and NILs and everything else, and she was setting, and she broke all those records, it caused for the spotlight to go on to her. So as an athlete, it's not a race thing. When you look at the business side of the WNBA, that is where the race card comes in, because you have so many other young black women who basically the investors, those that are making these deals, are saying, You're investing all this money into her. Meanwhile, I'm a 2-time MVP. I'm a 2-time champion. I've set numerous records in the league, but you don't see me as marketable. You don't see me as the face. And this is the conversation that Raylyn and I had a few weeks ago. Because A'ja Wilson, and I read down her list of everything she's done in the W. But the one thing she hasn't done is be the face of the WNBA. All of a sudden, this young girl who played for Iowa, not even a basketball school. Let's be very clear about this. When you think of women's basketball, you think of Connecticut, you think of Tennessee. We are now talking about LSU. We are now talking about South Carolina. Where was Iowa?
Stanford.
You know what I mean? Stanford, yeah. Exactly. Thank you, Mike. Yeah. Oregon. But where was Iowa? All of a sudden, from the ashes, Caitlin Clark emerges and sets the world of college basketball, women's college basketball, on fire. It was an inferno. It was a blaze that could not be extinguished.
And to add on to that, I looked it up. The last time before Caitlin Clark came along, the last time Iowa women's basketball had even done anything was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And so that, John, to answer your question, is where the race comes in. Because Ray even said to me, he was like, Eric, well, what about Breanna Stewart? I'm like, I get that. I know there have been female athletes who look like you, John, who have won national titles in the world of college basketball. And then they transitioned to the W. But no one marketed them. You know what I mean? And I just want to give a personal shout out to Breanna Stewart. Because between her and Nafisha Collar, and a huge thank you to you, John, for bringing this to our attention, they are starting unrivaled basketball this coming January of 2025. Thank God it's in Miami. Like, I can actually attend a game or two. You know what I mean? But my point is, Breanna Stewart's a 4-time national champion in college basketball.
But remember what I said 1 year ago, Eric. Remember what I said on the show. I said to Megan, I said to you, I said to Mike, I said to you guys, I said, what is the WNBA missing? I said it's missing drama, it's missing hatred, it's missing rivalries, I said it's missing all of that stuff. And then along comes Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and the rivalry began. The hatred began, the storylines began, the drama began, all the stuff that because remember, Eric, before this year, everybody played nice in the WNBA. Nobody was really there was none of this like what we're seeing right now. Everybody kind of played nice. They were nice to each other. Like the press conferences weren't really something where you're like, ooh, listen to what they just said about that player. Like, nobody was really doing that. You listen to them and they were kind of like, everybody was patting each other on the back. Now it's kind of like the NFL or the NBA where everybody's kind of like out to get somebody else. And it's like, we need that as sports fans. We need the drama. If you don't have drama, it doesn't matter how good your sport is. It's like a professional wrestler. If you're not good on the mic, it doesn't matter how good you are in the ring. You have to be able to entertain and not just be good at your sport. So now the WNBA, it's like everybody's kind of going after everybody. Everybody's saying this. There's drama. There's storylines. That's exactly what they've needed. They've finally got it. And as much as this Caitlin Clark stuff is going crazy, it's good for the W. Every time something bad happens to her, or every time she says something or somebody says something about her, it's great for the game. No matter how much people say, whoa, don't bite the hand that feeds, because Caitlin Clark is the reason that the WNBA is thriving. Keep going after her, because it creates storylines, it creates drama, it creates ESPN First Take having a whole thing about her. It creates this whole show. The biggest thing on this show is the W. We were all waiting for the W, not everything else. We were waiting to get to the W talk. Why do you think all that is? It's because of all the storylines, all the hatred, all the drama, all of it. It's what you need.
Eric, when you're talking about like the money to the endorsements, yes, Caitlin Clark has gotten hers, but Shaq's Reebok thing, Angel Reese hired. her contract's what, like she's making like 75,000, which is crazy, but she's worth like 2 million just in endorsements. And again, I get it, like NBA wise, but you look at that, like for a rookie coming into the NBA, like her Reebok deal. And I saw a thing. Oh, I was watching, it was the thing of a WNBA game. They're showing the pregame thing, but like she was doing a shoot, like, indoor, like just, kind of just in, except the whole, like, the Barbie princess thing, but like, yeah, that turned into like an endorsement. So yeah, I mean, the fact she's like, yeah, obviously they want their contracts to be more, but still being worth like $2 million and getting those endorsements. And I mean, like I said, with Shaq's like division there at Reebok, like signing her first and that. So yeah, I mean, rivalries, yes, John, are good, but I'm saying we don't need like some, this constant, to Eric's point, I think, and I'm not speaking for Eric, but it's the bickering that I think that gets, and that's what Charles Barkley's like, guys can be petty. He's like, and guys, he goes, guys, we're petty. He goes, but stop being petty. He's like,
Why?
stop.
We love it in the NFL.
Because he's like, you guys have it's like, she got you charter flights now. So you have this and that. And like, I know Angel Reese kind of posted a little funny thing back at Chuck, which was, again, it was funny. And so, she's like, yeah, this is what you get. And it was funny. It was in good humor, but like, I don't need to see, like, again, what Kennedy Carter did. It's like, yeah, you can sit there and whisper in her ear, or like, like Lucas said, he didn't say anything bad to Rudy Gobert in English. He said it in Slovakian, but like I told Eric when I talked to him last, it's funny. They mean the same thing in English and Slovakian. It looks the same, about how he can't guard him. But look, do I like the rivalry, John? Do I do it when you see it? And yeah, there's, going to be players, but for Becky Hammond to like sit there and have to say that, I think that's why I love that because I watched it like 3 times, and I just love seeing her stand there and just the one question, just getting more and more fired up by the questions. And it's not like she's going to say anything that's like, oh, Becky Hammond said this, like the ridiculousness of it. And that's why Asia Wilson's laughing too. Like, yeah, she's not perfect. None of us were. Like, she's a 22-year-old rookie. Like, that's the best. That's what I love to see. And yeah, do I want to see rivalries? And you're right. And it's not
have
anybody
to have them in sports.
Like, you want to see rivalries, but again, you don't need to see. I guess if people are going to say Kennedy Carter, a ridiculous hit, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, it's a complete, oh, it's a cheap shot. That's not. I mean, the screen that she took,
but it was
the blind side.
It's old basketball.
But how about no? That's not basketball, John.
That's basketball. Let's look at 90s basketball.
John.
Okay, well, it's not the 90s. To me. And if guys would have
Carter
clocked,
this is what I'm saying to you. And Mike, I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly where I was going. The Kennedy Carter hit was just blatant. Okay, because if you read her lips before she body checked, hip checked, she said the B word. Okay, Kennedy Carter, she said the B word and then hip checked her. Yeah. Okay, here is my 2 biggest issues with what happened on Saturday. My first issue is, where was the rest of the Indiana Fever? Because I'm telling you right now, if somebody would hip check any of the 3 of y'all on this screen, or even anybody in our comments,
I would be dead if somebody hip checked me.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. You would not be dead, but I'm telling you right now, John. Someone hip checks you, bro. I'm like the dude in Alabama. I'm throwing the black hat up. I'm calling for everybody.
Yeah,
we swinging chairs.
Just make sure you pull me out of the drywall first.
Hey, no, we'll get you. But here's my second issue, and this one speaks more directly to Kennedy Carter. You made it very clear in the post-game press conference that you were not going to answer any questions about the Caitlin Clark situation. And then you decide later on to go on social media and say something about the Caitlin Clark situation.
That's really lame.
Now, see,
I'm just saying. And Lord forgive me, I don't mean any disrespect when I say this about Kennedy Carter, but baby girl, you don't get to do that.
No.
If you sit there and say, I'm not going to answer any questions about Caitlin Clark or the situation, then you don't go on social media. And as my mama and my grandmama used to say, show your ass in public.
Well, let me also throw this in there, Eric, because not only was that lame of her, it was also lame of Angel Reese to make sure she wasn't available for the post-game press conference because she knew she was going to get Caitlin Clark questions because she stood up and clapped whenever that hip check happened. She stood up, got off the bench, basically said, "That's my girl, good job," and clapped. She knew she was going to get questions about that, and she didn't show up for her media session.
And that's why she got fined.
So that was weak of her.
And that's why
we got to make sure that she gets just as much flack because.
No, but to Eric's point, John, she didn't say she wasn't. She didn't not go and then just go over her social media and say anything.
I'm just saying she didn't show up.
But here's the thing: everybody's comparing it to the Kennedy Carter hit, and then they're like, "Oh well," because I think it was First Take today. I was flipping through that said they showed like the blindside screen, and I mean she got crushed, but it was a screen. It was a legit screen. Eric, to your point, if you three are my teammates, I'm calling out. I'm yelling every screen for you guys. If you don't turn around and do that for me, guess what happens the next time out? Y'all are gonna have big shins. Because.
And when we get to the locker room, we're going to have a whole different conversation.
No, but I'm saying like they were showing that. They're like, well, she took this blindside screen. Well, dude, it wasn't a cheap shot screen. If nobody's calling it out, guess what? Your teammates just screwed you. Like, hey, screen left, screen left, screen left. Like you're gonna move your arm up. You're gonna move. Again, from playing basketball, you hear your teammates say screen right, screen left. The first thing you do, even if you're going to bump into the person, but the first thing I'm doing is putting my arm up. Like, okay, where am I taking this contact? Because, okay, I got to look, I got to step around, I got to go under, whatever. But you don't say screen right and screen left. And again, I'm not comparing the two, but to John's point though earlier, Eric, they just kind of like, okay, well that came in, and again, not just First Take. A lot have shown it. It's like, dude, that's a clean screen. You just got lit up because your teammates didn't say a damn word. Yeah. Like, okay, great. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. But what Kennedy Carter did, I'm with you. I think it's, John, believe me, I'm all for feistiness. I mean, I remember being, the first time, God, I must have been, and I told Eric this years ago, but I must have been, and that's all you know. So I must have been like 6, 7, or 8. And I remember one of my uncles, my uncle on my mom's side, took me into New York to watch playground basketball. And I mean, I didn't want to go sleep. I wanted to go play, but everybody was like, I'm like, can I just sit on one of the dude's shoulders? Like, I'm light enough to carry. Like, let me play. I want to dunk. Like, watching that. And yeah, it's like there were fouls called. Guys weren't. If there would have been a cheap shot like that, I'm not saying it wouldn't have resulted in a fight, but whoever did that wouldn't have been playing. They would have been like, cool, you can go.
How many of us
get off the court?
Mike, how many of us enjoyed when Aqib Talib took Michael Crabtree's chain? We enjoyed that, right?
Listen, I laughed. I ain't gonna lie.
We enjoyed when Andre Johnson beat the hell out of Cortland Finnegan. We enjoyed that.
Oh, for sure. We enjoyed
I
that.
didn't say enjoy, but Cortland Finnegan deserved it.
You enjoyed when those things happened in the NFL, but you didn't enjoy them when they happened in the WNBA.
I didn't know because I don't enjoy. Again, if two guys look,
you know damn well you love when Aqib Talib snatched that chain off Michael Crabtree.
Eric knows. I think fighting in the NFL is the stupidest thing ever because I had a coach say, "Cool, John, I'm going to make you so mad. You go ahead and punch my helmet and break your hand, dummy, because that's exactly what you're going to do." I think fighting in football is stupid. But anyway,
we enjoyed that. So why are we
John, you're right. And John, you're right. You're right. Listen, I know Denzel's got to get out of here, so I want to give him a minute. First off, to say thank you, brother, because I love having you on.
Absolutely.
Please take a moment. Please take a moment. Let the world know, as our brother Alex always used to say, let the people know where they can find you at.
Absolutely. So I appreciate y'all having me on. You know what I mean? Let's see, Top Rope Talk Mondays, pro wrestling show all the time on Sideline Sports Network. That is going to be on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, Sideline Sports Show Tuesdays. Confidential Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sports Business Insider at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, the Gauntlet on Fridays. To my guy, Mike, Eric, John, once again, it's been a pleasure. I'll be back soon.
Awesome sauce. And look at that. There's Eric and John. Bam. Bam.
And,
man,
and
great
we love bench clearing brawls. We love whenever the bench is clearing baseball too. We don't
No,
get
no.
love
I
that.
never have. I never have. You know why?
I love that.
Really,
I told
Mike?
Eric this years ago.
Really?
I hate
Please
bench.
remind me because I forgot about this.
I love
Stupid.
that.
Yes, I remember sitting in LA with you saying it's the dumbest thing. Like growing up around hockey fights, like there's one or two dudes that throw punches, and then the bench is clear, and they're all just like, It's like, dude, I'm like, oh my god, I'd love to get hockey players just in the middle of that, just to smack the baseball players around, because it would be, and John, you know this, it'd be a bloodbath. Like,
but
you
imagine love hockey fights too. That's not part of
right. But I love hockey
in the game.
But John, what have I always told you throughout the years we've been doing this? And Eric knows this too. I love the occasional hockey, Donnybrook and fisticuffs. I'm all for. But why do I love the Stanley Cup playoffs? Because people don't do it because you see the speed. And again, you see it in the regular season too now, because again, they try to cut back a lot on the fighting. You don't need, goons, quote unquote, trying to ruin the game. And not that that's all they did. But I will say this, like, yeah, the occasional fight, yes, but when you see like the playoffs and the speed and nobody wants to go in, that's why, John, that's why we talked about it last year. That's why you see the best fights like right at the end of the game, because nobody's starting the game in the penalty box the next game, and they know that. So there's like 5 seconds left. Cool, they got thrown out. Boom, boom, boom. It's one of those things. But that, yes, the hockey policed itself, and it was one of those things. So, yeah, I mean, to say people you didn't look forward to it. Of course. I mean, that's why, before MMA, and look, I've said a million times on my shows, when I first saw MMA, I'm like, I liked it. I enjoyed the skill of it, but I'm like, man, they leave the blood in the ring. I know in boxing you see it, but I'm like, dude, there's no way this is going to take off. And then,
did you enjoy when Tio got laid out in the middle of the Star in Cowboy Stadium? You enjoyed that, didn't you? Yeah, of course
because you don't disrespect the Stars. No,
exactly, Mike. You enjoyed.
Then he was forgiven when he became a Cowboy.
Was that part of the game?
John,
or was that
okay? Look,
was that off the ball?
But John, to your point, there's justified. But that's why you can't compare hockey.
If it happens in the WNBA, it's not okay. Okay, gotcha.
But
the narrative is different.
Any sports fights to hockey, because hockey self-policed itself for the longest time. Guys have fights, and that was that.
Mike, the narrative,
that's still a cheap shot.
The narrative is different. And the narrative is different. And this is where John and I completely agree. The narrative is different because it's men versus women.
Well, which I've always hated, but yes.
Bingo.
But that's the narrative right now. To
women
John's
have to be
point,
proper and nice.
Everything that we have said, everything that John has said here tonight on the show, and I'm sure he'll echo those sentiments throughout the Sideline Sports Network shows.
Yep.
It's the fact that there has to be something attention grabbing to make us continually watch. Every week in football, we want to see the long bomb thrown. We want to see the one-handed catch. We want to see the interception that turns the game and the team comes back and wins.
I want to see Penn State linebacker Micah Parsons blow people up.
Shut up.
We want to see in basketball Steph shoot from half court. We want to see the dunks, the little guy, the 5'10" guy go over the 6'8" guy. Okay? In baseball, we want to see the grand slam or the catch at the monster. You know what I mean? In hockey, yes, we want to see the fights. We want to see the checks.
Yeah,
but those are all male sports. In the W, at least up until this point, what we've asked them for is to go out and play their game. But now, to what John has said, we got the drama. We got the excitement. We got the number one college basketball franchise record-setting female in Indiana, to where every game she has played, you would think, and this is not a comparison, I'm simply using this as an analogy, okay? Every team that plays Indiana is like every NFL team playing the Kansas City Chiefs. You are going to get their best. You are going to get their worst. Why? Because the world the outside media, the advertisers, the investors, those who have funneled money into this league because of Caitlin Clark. Now, everybody else is like,
So let me
she's
give you
not
some,
who y'all think she is.
let me give
And
you
we
some
gonna
numbers
show you.
when you're done, Eric.
Please, John.
Yeah. I want to give you some numbers. So, last year the Fever had, I believe it was 82,000 in attendance collectively through all their home games. This year they have 83,000 through 5 home games. Now they have more through 5 games than they did all of last season home game wise. Attendance at Caitlin Clark WNBA games this weekend, 17,000 plus, 17,000 plus. Attendance at non-Caitlin Clark WNBA games, 7,600, 4,000, 9,800, 7,000, 3,200, 10,200, and 7,000. No game without Caitlin Clark came even close to the 2 games where she had there were 17,000 plus in each game. 34,000 plus collective fans attended games that she was at, compared to only one hit 10,000 all the other games over the weekend. All of the rest were under 10,000. Just let that sink in, those numbers. How big of a draw she is. The games that I put in for credentials for the Mystics, as soon as the game, the Fever against the Mystics, got moved to the Wizards Arena, it got sold out. Boom. As soon as I snapped my fingers. The game that got announced, on Thursday, Sky versus Mystics, boom, that got sold out because Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, mainly Caitlin Clark, but Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are the 2 big draws right now. Like, I love all the other players in the WNBA, Eric, but it's not about how good of a player you are. It's about how polarizing you are, how must-see TV you are. That's what it's about. How can you entertain me? Not necessarily with what you do with the ball, but the draw. Like, it's must-see TV. I must watch.
Wait, hold on, John.
Must watch Angel Reese.
It does have to be entertaining, but don't say it doesn't matter you with the ball. Because
I didn't say it doesn't matter. I said
I've had
like
this
Eric
debate for years.
mentioned, you got to draw them in. And those 2, specifically Caitlin Clark,
Right?
everybody wants to know what she does, when she does it, how she does it. It's just how
but
it is.
Vegas sold out their season before it even started, before the draft. Vegas sold out their season.
They're back-to-back champs. Of course, they're back-to-back champs.
Right,
the Fever have been like the worst.
No, I know the Fever have been terrible. Right, exactly. No, exactly.
Longer than that.
Right, exactly.
But here's my point. And John, to your point, you're absolutely right. But here's the thing. Mike and I, speaking of games, Mike and I will be in attendance for what I think is going to be one of, if not the biggest game of the season, the entire WNBA season. That game takes place on Sunday, June 30th, in the Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Because it is arguably the GOAT, Diana Taurasi, and the Phoenix Mercury hosting Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. It is what you would call a WNBA Sunday primetime game. That game is Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, I believe.
Yeah.
And that is going to be, and it's going to be on ABC, ESPN, wherever, which means that Ryan Rucco, Rebecca Lobo, Holly Rowe, everybody is going to want to be at that game. Now, because of Mike, we will be in attendance. John, that game, no matter what happens, win or lose, doesn't matter. That game is going to have, I think, a true rippling effect. Because 2 weeks later, it's the All-Star game. Back in Phoenix. And it's just going to catapult, because there's a break afterwards because of the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the season will pick back up. But yes, you are spot on.
And it's not a disrespect anybody else. It's not. I want to make sure that's clear.
No, it is. But the draw the draw right now is, what is Caitlin Clark going to do?
Yeah, because John,
and the fact is, the world, not talking about us, because we've been tuned in.
Right.
We've been watching. We've been covering. That is why I wanted this conversation to happen tonight.
Of course.
Right.
Because this is what we have wanted. And as soon as it came to fruition, I just felt like we all, and I take full responsibility, accountability. I feel like we all just kind of, why aren't we ahead of this? John, I've seen your work, bro, with the Mystics. And I'm like, yo, that's my dog in the building. When Mike is in the press conference room talking to DT, talking to Kalia,
Copper,
talking to Kosh, Cloud, talking to all of them. I'm like, yo, that's my dog in the building. You know, when my man Nick Hamilton out in Los Angeles is talking to Cameron Brink and Lexi Brown, I'm like, yo, those are my people who have been in these rooms. Like, y'all don't even understand. I'm so excited for the 3-game home stretch that I am able to be in Arizona so that Mike and I can cover the Mercury for those 3 games, 3 out of 4. Like, it's just, I can't wait for the end of the month. Not only because it's my birthday, but that's aside the point. But it's just the fact that this conversation is one that needs to continually be had. What I don't want, and I've said this before and I'll say it again and I'll leave y'all on this. What I don't want is I don't want this wave to just all of a sudden one day go from here and then just fall off. Because the amount of talent that exists in the W just it's incredible. And we here at the Sports Arena
I don't think it's
and
going
Sideline
anywhere.
Sports, we have a front row seat to the action.
Because Eric, I mean, you have everybody gotten out. You're getting Paige Beckers in the WNBA next year. That's going to be more
2 years
drama.
after that, Juju Watkins.
When you get Paige versus whether she's on Caitlin's team or not, or versus Angel, or versus any of that, or versus Aja, like, that's more drama. That's more storylines. Like, and those players aren't going anywhere. So, like, it's just going to keep adding. They already got their TV deals. They got their charter flights. I think it's only going to get bigger and better. They just got to keep pushing. They can't stop. And they already did. They added 2 more expansion teams.
And when you talk about crowds too, John, I mean, it depends. Yeah, I get it without Caitlin Clark, but I mean, Phoenix, I mean, they literally, I mean, I think, what was it? Jennifer Gillum, or was it Pettis who called, like, who came up with the name, the X Factor for the crowd? Because, like, I mean, even last year when they were struggling, like, I would send Eric
I saw
pictures.
the video you sent us. That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, you know, and that's games where, and but I mean, Phoenix, and again, they've sprinkled in championships, which have been nice, and should have had one in 21, but, you know, Clea Copper got a little too, and Sophie Cunningham, like, in the presser, it was awesome. The media day said, yeah, of course we're all good. We're both competitors. We're good. We don't even talk about it. I go, yeah. I go, yeah, that's right. But no, I love Clea Copper. I mean, look, these first 10 games, you talk about it. She keeps this on pace, man. She's a leader in the clubhouse for MVP. I mean, what she did points-wise in a 3-game stretch, she had the second most points, or tied for the most points in her first 2 games as a Mercury player. And then in like a 3 and 4 game stretch, I think she had like the most. And just the way the ball flows, like when like DT's out there, and Coach Tibbetts has done such like just an awesome job, because you see, like, you know, Taurasi come off the court and you're just like looking like, and again, she's not going to, you know, she like said, she loves the way Nate coaches, but he's kind of looking at her time, and so he'll take her off the court, get her a rest, get her back out there. But yeah, no, I mean, attendance wise, like, again, you know, and yeah, of course, like throughout the years, I mean, like Vegas obviously is always going to draw, I mean, being back-to-back champs, but, you know, when Becky Hammond signed, it was like, oh, let's, you know, Vegas. But Phoenix crowds have always been, I mean, pretty much like, of course, championship years, but like the X factor comes out. So it's pretty awesome. So
this is what I'm going to say. In the 11 games that the Phoenix Mercury has played, Kalia has had 2 games under 10 points.
Under 10 points, yeah.
She has had 6 games over 20 points. So, North Philly stand up. Anyhow, much love to y'all.
I knew that was coming.
And on that note, I'm out. Love y'all both. I'm going to holler at y'all. Everybody stay blessed. Have a great night. Much love to everybody. Shout out to Denzel for rocking with us. Check out my man John Shear tomorrow night. Sideline Sports, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Check out Mike Caratanudo. Pitchfork Lunch, 5 days a week. We'll be back. Peace.